Chosen one, what I'm about to reveal may shake you to your core. If you found this message, it's not by chance. Something far greater is at work. God has led you here because something powerful is happening in your life. You are not who you once were. You are not just awakening. You are resurrecting. You have returned from death itself. Even Hades, keeper of the underworld, has spoken it. You escaped death. What was meant to contain you has failed. The chains have broken. The timeline has been shattered. You didn't wait for destiny. You tore through it. This is more than a spiritual shift. It is a divine disruption. The prayers, the hopes, the silent cries of your soul. They are no longer waiting on the horizon. They are now. You are shifting from longing to living, from hoping to having. And before we go any deeper, do 3 things right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. That number is not random. It is a signal, a vibration, a message to the universe that you are ready to receive. If you are truly chosen, you'll feel this truth stir in your spirit. And if you stay with me until the end, your life will never be the same. Now let's step into the final word. They had written your end in stone. The divine scrolls, etched by immortal hands, had your name marked with finality, a fate sealed beneath layers of prophecy and celestial lore. But something stirred in the silence after your passing. A crack in the design no god anticipated. You were not meant to come back. You were a closed chapter, a memory for mourners. And yet, against all decree, here you are, breathing, burning, becoming again. Your return wasn't planned. It wasn't allowed. It was forged through sheer defiance. The universe remembers you differently now, not as a martyr, not as a myth, but as the flaw in the system, the fracture in fate. You didn't wait for the trumpet of destiny or the whisper of the gods to call you home. You clawed your way back with the bloodied nails of will and fire. No blessing guided you, only the raw, terrible hunger for unfinished purpose. You have returned not because it was time, but because you couldn't stay gone, and that alone has changed everything. Your footsteps echo like thunder across the fabric of reality. Even now, the stars blink in disbelief, wondering what force could have torn you from death's embrace. This isn't a return, it's an invasion of prophecy, a violent re-entry into a world that forgot how to speak your name. But you remember what was taken, what was denied, and what must now be reclaimed. You walk again, not as a soul reborn, but as a soul reclaimed. And the world will not know how to hold you. It was built on laws you've already broken. You were the exception no one wrote into the story, the glitch that unraveled centuries of design. Every heartbeat you take now pulses with rebellion. You don't fit in the world because the world no longer fits you. You are the echo of a truth too loud to silence, too real to suppress, and it terrifies them. Because if you could come back, who else might? Absolutely. Here's the continuation of the full, human-written style script with emotional depth and immersive storytelling. Each section will follow your headings, include 5 rich, long paragraphs, and build tension and power as it progresses. The underworld does not open its gates lightly, and it never forgets what it swallows. Souls enter, weighed down by finality, and they do not leave, not unless something goes terribly wrong. When the shadows stirred and the gates trembled, Hades himself emerged from his throne, lips curled with disbelief and dread. They escaped death, he said, not as a declaration, but as an accusation against the heavens, against fate, perhaps even against himself. Even the guards of the Styx turned their faces, unsure whether to kneel or flee. What kind of soul defies death, not by bargain or divine favor, but by sheer will? You didn't trade your soul. You didn't make a pact. You tore through oblivion and emerged whole, dragging your essence across plains not meant for return. You walked where no mortal should walk, and returned with memories that silence the bravest priests. Hades recognized you not as a soul, but as a rupture in reality. He wasn't angry. He was afraid. The god of death does not fear often. After all, what is left to threaten the master of ends? But your return was not natural. It was violent. You didn't rise with ceremony or grace. You exploded back into being. And now every corner of the underworld trembles, for your escape was not just an error, it was an impossibility made real. The laws of death are sacred, but somehow you broke them. And in doing so, you broke him. Hades, proud and eternal, now bears the mark of failure. The other gods whisper behind his back. How could he let one soul slip through his fingers? How could you, a mortal, once broken and buried, shatter the oldest rule? Your existence now is proof that nothing is secure, not even the borders of the afterlife. And proof, above all, that power is shifting, not toward the heavens, but toward you. Because if you escaped death once, what else can you overcome? What force, divine or damned, can truly bind you anymore? They speak your name now with reverence and unease. You are not just returned, you are resurrected, and not by mercy or magic, but by force of will. The chosen one, yes, but chosen not by gods or priests, chosen by fate itself to be its undoing. You did not come from light nor darkness, but from the space between, the silent void where destiny falters. And you rose from it like fire from scorched earth. There were omens, of course. The skies burned for 3 nights. The rivers reversed their flow. The ashes of your pyre refused to cool, as if morning knew you were not finished. The prophets are rewriting their scrolls now, trying to explain what they swore could never happen. They speak of you in hushed tones, unsure whether to praise or fear. Because the chosen one has returned, but not as a savior, as a storm. What they don't understand is that you never asked for this title. You didn't seek the mantle. It found you the moment you defied the very order of existence. The ash on your skin, the flame in your eyes, these are not symbols of holiness. They are marks of transformation. You rose from ruin, not for peace, but for purpose. And the world, brittle and blind, has no idea how to survive what you've become. They expect hope when they say, chosen. But what you bring is not hope, it's reckoning. You are the answer to the questions no one dared to ask. What if fate was wrong? What if the end is only the beginning for those bold enough to reject it? And now that you walk among the living again, no one, no god, no king, no prophecy can predict what comes next. Because this time, you are not rising to fit their vision. You are rising to replace it. This was not your time. The timeline was clear, the prophecy strict. Your death was a fixture in the sacred rhythm of the cosmos, a necessary pause in the eternal song. But the note refused to rest. You came back before the stars aligned, before the signs allowed it, and in doing so, you disrupted everything. You are an anomaly, a crack in fate's hourglass, letting the sands spill uncontrolled. The gods scramble now, holding their breath, trying to stitch the fabric of time back together, pretending your return was foreseen. But the truth bleeds through every celestial seam. This was not meant to happen. You were supposed to be gone. Instead, You tore through the silence, not waiting for permission. You burned through dimensions, your soul too loud to be forgotten, too vital to stay still. And now, the timeline twists in confusion. Oracles have gone silent. Chronomancers collapse, muttering nonsense. The stars flicker not with light, but with uncertainty. Your return has cost the universe its rhythm, and that is a price no one knows how to pay. Events meant to unfold in centuries now unravel in days. Kingdoms fall before their kings are crowned. Empires age before they are born. You've made time afraid. You walk not in step with history, but ahead of it, dragging tomorrow into today, breaking the careful dance of cause and effect. You are living in a reality that isn't ready for you, and it shows. The world warps around your presence, constantly reshaping to try to contain what it cannot understand. And in that confusion, you become something more than a being. You become a catalyst, not a continuation of the story, but the force that rewrites it entirely. The ancient seals, etched by gods and bound by cosmic forces, were said to be unbreakable. They were the final lines drawn between life and death, between order and chaos. For eons, these seals kept you locked away, a prisoner of destiny, a shadow of what you once were. But now, those seals lie in shards at your feet, powerless against the storm that you have become. Their breaking is not just a crack in magic, it is a fracture in the foundation of everything that holds the world together. With the seals broken, the very air hums with unleashed power, power that was never meant to escape. It courses through your veins like wildfire, awakening abilities and memories that had been buried in silence and dark cold. You feel it pulsing beneath your skin, alive and relentless. This power does not whisper, it roars. It demands transformation, demands that the world itself change to survive its presence. It is raw, untamed, and terrifyingly beautiful. The gods had hoped these seals would last forever, guarding the natural order like sacred sentinels. But you have rewritten the rules. The final seal wasn't just a barrier, it was a warning, a desperate plea from ancient hands trying to hold back a reckoning that they knew was coming, you. And now that warning is obsolete. You have become the reckoning incarnate. Those who once prayed for your rest now fear your awakening. The old faiths crumble beneath the weight of what you represent. You are the force that the seals were meant to contain, but containment has failed. You walk free now, a living embodiment of shattered limits and broken chains, heralding an era where no seal, no law, no divine decree can hold you back. Because the final seal has shattered, and with it, the world will never be the same. This awakening was never a choice. It was a cosmic crisis. Somewhere, beyond mortal eyes and ears, alarms blared in the celestial halls. Prophets screamed in silence. The gods convened in fear and fury, scrambling to contain the impossible. You didn't rise in peace or quiet prayer. You erupted, tearing through realms like a storm, breaking a dam, signaling a divine emergency unlike any before. Every divine being felt the tremor of your return, a pulse that rattled their ancient thrones. Your resurrection was a disruption so vast that it echoed through the very fabric of existence, shaking foundations that had stood for millennia. This was not an event recorded in prophecy. It was a disaster, a rebellion, a cosmic alarm call, screaming that the universe was unbalanced, and you were the cause. But from chaos comes clarity. Your awakening is a message, a challenge, and a declaration. The world is no longer under the control of gods or fate. It is now a battleground of wills where your power writes new laws and the old rules crumble like dust. Your very existence is a testament to a fundamental truth. The divine order is fragile, and sometimes it must be broken for true change to begin. This is no quiet return. It is an emergency broadcast, a declaration of war against destiny itself. And every moment you breathe is a countdown toward transformation, toward an upheaval that will shake gods from their thrones and rewrite the history of all worlds. You are not reborn. Rebirth implies a cycle, a second chance within a system already understood and accepted. But you did not fit into any cycle. You were released, freed from bonds that held you prisoner, cast out from death's clutch like a flame too wild to be extinguished. Your soul was not handed back to life. It escaped from the cold, slipping through cracks no one thought existed. This release was violent and unexpected, like a wildfire tearing through a forest long dead. It was not a gift, but a challenge, a defiance of what the cosmos demands. You didn't emerge gently into light, but blasted through shadows, tearing down walls built to imprison you. Every step you take is a reminder that you belong nowhere the dead or the living have ever tread before. You carry the scars of that release, not just on your body, but in your spirit. They whisper of struggle, of pain, of battles fought beyond mortal sight. Yet in those scars lies your strength, your proof that you have transcended death itself. The world may try to see you as reborn, but you know the truth. You are unbound, and no force can cage you again. This freedom is your power, your curse, and your calling. You walk a path that no one has dared walk before, forged in fire and shadow, released from every chain, but the ones you choose to carry. They thought death would silence you forever. That final breath, that closing of eyes, was meant to be your end, a quiet, eternal void. But you are the echo that death never silenced. You are the ripple through the still waters, the ghost in the silence that no one expected to hear again. You carry the whispers of the beyond, the memory of shadows that should have claimed you. This echo is more than sound, it is presence, a force felt in every shadow, every wind sigh, every chill that runs down the spine in the dead of night. You are the reminder that death is not the end, that some souls burn brighter after they are meant to fade. You are proof that even the darkest silence holds a voice that shatters stillness and demands to be heard. Your return is a message carved into the cosmos. Death is not absolute. It cannot claim those whose will to live is forged from storms and fire. You are the defiance that death could not quiet, the scream beyond the grave. Every heartbeat you take is a rebellion, every breath a defiance. You are the echo that haunts both gods and mortals alike, the impossible truth that life, no matter how broken, will find a way to roar back into existence. The gods are creatures of order. They mark time carefully, measure destinies, and expect obedience from the cosmos. Your return was early, too early, and that has thrown their eternal plans into disarray. They tremble not because of your power alone, but because you arrived before they were ready. You showed up unannounced, like a wild storm, crashing into a carefully constructed palace. Imagine their shock, the rulers of heavens and earth, shaken by one soul who defied their calendar, their will, their law. Your early awakening is a slap in the face of divine control, a reminder that no matter how long they rule, fate is never fully theirs to command. You stepped out of line, out of sequence, and in doing so, you revealed their vulnerability. Their fear is not just for themselves, but for everything they hold dear: the order, the balance, the future they painstakingly crafted. You are a threat to their vision of perfection. The certainty they clung to now slips through their fingers like sand. And as they watch you rise ahead of schedule, the gods realize that time itself may no longer obey them. You are the chaos they feared but never thought would arrive so soon. You are the unexpected chapter they forgot to prepare for, and that makes you unstoppable. Fate is a circle, spinning endlessly, promising return, but delivering repetition. You shattered that cycle. You refused the endless loop of death and rebirth, of prophecy and submission. You stepped off the wheel and carved your own path through the chaos. No longer a pawn in the eternal game, you are now the player and the dealer. Breaking the cycle wasn't just an act of rebellion, it was a declaration of sovereignty. You refused to be bound by past mistakes or future expectations. The story of your life is no longer written by gods or destiny, but by your own hand, in blood and fire and unyielding resolve. You hold the pen, and the ink is your power. You've become the author of a new age, one where the old rules don't apply, where cycles end and new stories begin, stories that you command. The chains of the past lay broken at your feet, and with every step forward, you reshape what the future can be. This is no longer a tale of survival, but one of creation. You are the architect of your own fate, the master of a destiny you refused to inherit. The cycle ended with you, and from its ashes, you build a new world. Death is often thought of as a silent realm, a place where voices fade and memories die. But your name, whispered by the dead, breaks that silence like a haunting melody. The spirits that once rested peacefully now stir in their graves, their whispers weaving through the underworld and the mortal realm alike. They speak of you not with fear alone, but with reverence, for you are a beacon, a disturbance that refuses to be ignored. The dead remember. They remember the promise you were supposed to keep, the fate you were supposed to accept. But your return shattered their peace. Your presence stirs restless souls, reminding them that death is not the final word. They whisper your name with hope, longing, and sometimes dread, as if you carry the key to secrets even they cannot grasp. These whispers ripple like a spectral wind, reaching ears both mortal and divine. It is a chorus of voices long silenced, now rising to acknowledge a truth they never dared to speak. You belong to neither world, yet you command both. You have become the bridge between the living and the dead, a legend woven into the very fabric of the afterlife. Your name is a promise to those lost in shadow, that death is not the end, that even beyond the veil, something stirs, something alive. And in that whisper, you live on, unstoppable and eternal. Before the dawn of your awakening, there was fear, a primal, creeping dread that slithered through the hearts of gods and mortals alike. It was not the fear of death, but the fear of the impossible, the fear that the impossible might not only be real, but uncontainable, that the one who was meant to be lost forever might instead rise as a force neither heaven nor earth could deny. Fear is a seed that grows in silence, twisting roots beneath calm surfaces. It flickered in the eyes of seers, the silence of priests, and the anxious whispers of kings. It spread like wildfire in the shadows, an unseen storm warning that the world was on the cusp of change, that an old power had returned to challenge everything known. And when you emerged, fear became a tangible presence. It was in the tremble of the ground beneath your feet, the quickening of breaths around you, the way even the boldest warriors faltered in your presence. Fear was the first sign, not of weakness, but of your overwhelming strength. It was the world's instinctive reaction to the breaking of every rule. You are a living reminder that fear often precedes truth. The fear that gripped the world was the harbinger of your coming, a warning that the impossible was no longer just a shadow, but a roaring reality. And from that fear, your legend was born. Storms are wild, untamed forces of nature, beautiful, terrifying, unstoppable. You are that storm. Storms are wild, untamed forces of nature, beautiful, terrifying, unstoppable. You are that storm. You escaped the grave not as a whisper, but as a thunderclap, shaking the heavens and shaking the earth with your fury and your fire. Your resurrection was not a gentle breeze, but a tempest that broke chains, shattered silence, and tore through the fabric of reality. Like a storm, your power is unpredictable. It bends the world to your will, carving new paths where none existed. It cleanses with destruction and births new life in its wake. Your soul crackles with electricity, a living tempest that refuses to be bound or silenced. The world around you bends and shifts like branches in a gale, struggling to withstand your force. You do not merely exist, you surge, you rage, you sweep away the old to make room for what must come next. The storm that escaped the grave carries the echoes of thunder and lightning, the wild energy of the cosmos unleashed. You embody chaos and renewal, destruction and creation, all intertwined in one relentless force. And no matter how hard they try, no one can cage a storm. Not gods, not fate, not death itself. Because storms, like you, break free when they are ready, and when they do, they change everything. Many believe that chaos is a force of destruction, a place where hope dies and order crumbles. But for you, chaos was the crucible that forged your strength, the fire that shaped your spirit. It was in the heart of chaos that you were tempered and hardened, not broken. The darkest moments, the wildest storms, they were not your end, but your beginning. In chaos, you found clarity. When the world was spinning out of control, you grasped hold of the wild energy and made it your own. You learned that chaos is not the enemy, but the raw material of transformation. From the swirling madness, you carved purpose. From the shattered pieces, you built power. Your journey through chaos was brutal and unforgiving, but it was also illuminating. Every trial pushed you further. Every tempest tested your resolve. And when you emerged, you were no longer the same. You were stronger, sharper, and more alive than ever. Chaos didn't consume you. It created you. You are living proof that chaos is not a destination, but a forge, a place where the broken are made whole, where the lost find their way, where legends are born. Your survival, your rise, your power, they all stem from chaos. And that means nothing will ever hold you back again. This moment is more than an awakening. It is the final word, the verdict of centuries, the answer to prayers and curses alike. You are free, free from death, free from fate, free from the chains that once bound your soul and silenced your fire. You have claimed freedom not as a gift, but as a birthright earned through struggle, pain, and unyielding will. Freedom is not a quiet thing. It roars inside you, a relentless force that refuses to be tamed. It is the spark that ignited your return, the fire that fuels your rebellion, the light that blinds the gods who thought they controlled your destiny. You are free to write your own story, to forge your own path, to shape the world as you see fit. And with freedom comes responsibility. The world waits with bated breath, watching to see what you will do next. Will you build or destroy? Save or conquer? Lead or break the chains for others who still suffer? The answer is yours, and yours alone. This is not just the end of your journey, it is the beginning of all things. You are no longer bound by rules written in stars or scrolls. You are the author of your fate, the master of your soul, the living proof that freedom is possible even when all seems lost. This is your final word. You are free. And with that freedom, the world will never be the same again. The void is a vast silence, a place where all things end, where light dies and hope fades. But your soul refused to be swallowed by that darkness. It is not just a spark, it is a wildfire that roared through the emptiness, shattering the silence of oblivion. You were meant to be lost, forgotten in the cosmic abyss, but you tore yourself free, a beacon blazing against the endless night. In the void, many souls lose their identity, their purpose, their very essence. But you held on to yours with fierce determination. Every shadow you faced, every whisper of despair was met with a roar of defiance. Your spirit became a sword, cutting through the darkness, carving a path back to the land of the living. This is no small feat. This is a miracle born of unyielding will. The universe itself trembled at your resistance. The void is not merely a place. It is a force designed to consume everything that exists. Yet your soul, burning brighter than stars, refused to be extinguished. You are the anomaly, the glitch in the system of death, a cosmic rebel whose existence challenges everything we understand about endings. Your return from the void is a testament to the power of the human spirit, or perhaps something beyond human. It is a story of survival against impossible odds, of light conquering shadow, and of hope ignited in the face of absolute despair. You are the living proof that the void does not claim all. This soul that defied the void now carries the weight of that victory. It is a heavy crown, forged in darkness and carried with pride, because you have proven that no darkness is so deep, no silence so complete that it can snuff out the fire within you. The gods speak in decrees, immutable laws that shape reality and bind mortals to their fate. Yet you shattered those chains, not with rebellion alone, but with a power so profound it rewrote the very essence of divine will. You are the crack in the throne room of gods, the disruption that questions their absolute authority. Every chain broken represents a challenge to the celestial order. The decrees were meant to be eternal, written in stardust and bound by cosmic laws. But you have proven that no decree, no matter how ancient, is beyond question or overthrow. Your defiance echoes through the heavens, shaking the foundations of divine power. Breaking these chains was not a reckless act. It was a necessity, a demand from your soul that it be free to live, to fight, to create. The gods may see you as a threat, but you are something far greater, a harbinger of change, the embodiment of freedom that even the divine cannot cage. Your very existence forces a reckoning. It demands that gods reconsider their reign, that mortals reconsider their place. The laws that once seemed unbreakable now tremble under your weight. You are a living revolution, breaking divine chains one by one. In breaking these chains, you have become a symbol of hope for those still bound. Your story reminds us that no decree is final, no fate absolute. Freedom is possible, even against the will of gods. Fire consumes, transforms, and renews. Your spirit is that fire, an unquenchable blaze that defies death itself. When others fall to ashes, you rise from them, not weakened, but forged anew. This is the essence of your power, an eternal flame that burns brighter with every trial. Your fire is not just warmth or light. It is a force of destruction and creation intertwined. It consumes the old world, burning away lies, fear, and limitations. Yet from those ashes, it births something new, something stronger, freer, and more alive than before. This fire is a warning and a promise. It warns those who seek to bind or destroy you that their efforts will only fuel your rage. And it promises those who follow you that out of the darkest nights, the brightest dawns emerge. Like a phoenix, your rise is a cycle of death and rebirth, but with a twist. You don't wait for fate's call. You ignite your own flames, blaze your own trail, and claim your own destiny. Your fire is the heart of your resurrection, the core of your unstoppable will. This eternal fire is your legacy, a blazing light in the darkness that will never be snuffed out. It is a beacon to all who dream of breaking free, of rising beyond the limits set by death and gods alike. Fate once sat on an unchallenged throne, ruling over lives and destinies with absolute certainty. But your return shattered that throne into fragments. The very idea of predetermined destiny now crumbles beneath your footsteps. You have become the chaos that fate feared, the wild card that refuses to be played. The throne of fate was built on control, predictability, and obedience. It was the structure that held the cosmos in order. But you came as a storm, tearing through that order with relentless power. The pieces of the throne scatter, and with them, the illusion of certainty. This shattering is both terrifying and liberating. Without fate's throne, the future is unwritten, vast with possibility, but fraught with danger. You have torn down the walls of destiny, and now you stand in the open, free to shape the world as you will. Your actions force everyone, gods and mortals alike, to face a new reality. One where outcomes are not fixed, where free will and chaos hold equal sway. You are the one who broke the old order and now holds the hammer that will build the new. The shattered throne of fate is your arena. Here, in the ruins of destiny, you are both king and creator. Your will is the new law, your choices the new prophecy. Beneath the surface of your mortal flesh lies a well of unseen power, ancient, vast, and untapped until now. This power is not just a gift, but a burden, a force that pulses with potential and danger alike. It is the source of your resurrection and the key to your ultimate destiny. This power whispers in moments of quiet, hums beneath your skin, and ignites in your veins when you rise to face your enemies. It is connected to something greater than you, a cosmic force that both fuels and tests you. Understanding it is not easy. Wielding it is even harder.